Hello.
Hello.
Just gonna ask everybody if you could say something to test it for me.
Well, mission accomplished.
Hello.
Shut your sound off.
It is off. Yeah.
No, not your mute, not your mic.
I got you.
Reverberation.
Oh, God, okay.
Okay.
Means I gotcha.
Yeah.
Have the same thing as anything. Reverberation.
Oh, God, okay.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Have the same thing as anything. Reverberation.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Doing
Why is it on necklace loop?
Are we safe?
Ah, okay.
Okay, let's try that. I think that's okay now. Are we safe?
No guarantees for the moment.
There seems to be some delay. Like that. Okay, now.
No guarantees for the moment.
It's so delayed.
What's going on? People seem scared.
The audio is doing very odd things in the conference room. Like it's playing like anything anyone says, it's like after a gap of like a solid 30 seconds, it's repeating it. I have never experienced a Zoom call that has that particular functionality before, but here we are. There's always time for something new.
Okay, I'm glad. It seemed like something like potentially scary was going on.
No, it was actually kind of hilarious, but now it's just mystifying.
Is it feedback with a bad internet
Yeah,
connection?
so Chris is also joined on a device, but it seemed like he's muted and has his sound off in the room, so I don't know, like it should be fine. I don't know.
It should be okay now. I think it was the live streaming to Facebook that was the issue because it was out before. So unfortunately, we may not be able to do that today, but we're gonna do the best with what we've got.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Good luck. Thanks, man. Man, that was right there for a second. It's always something. I try so hard to be prepared with technology.
Not possible.
We've got a couple of commissioners in the attendees that need to be promoted.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think once they're here, then I believe we are up to a quorum.
Yes.
Yep.
Is Jukebox here? Yes, yeah, she's on, but that's her like otter recording. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Genevieve's in the
I got her.
there too. Okay, great.
This they go.
Cool. And did you say that that's like a secondary device for Tierra? Because I don't see her as a panelist, though.
Oh, let me promote it
Oh.
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop promoting. Yeah, Chris is signed on as a co-host so that he can help me navigate chat.
Yeah, that's ideal. That's really good because you shouldn't have to be doing like Zoom background stuff in the midst of trying to do 400 other things.
We're always juggling here.
Juggling is the status quo, but yeah, we can at least try to put some of the flaming torches down. So great. Well, I think we have a quorum. If you are stuck in the participants room and need to be promoted to be able to speak during the meeting, just be sure to use like the raised hand or Q&A, one of those features to get Chris's attention, and he can promote you accordingly. So I'd like to call the May meeting of the Commission on Human Relations to order. It's great to have you here. We have a lot of good work to do together this afternoon, so we'll get started by reviewing the minutes of our April meeting. Hopefully you had the opportunity to take a look at those in your packet. Did anyone have any suggested edits, additions, or corrections to our April minutes? And if there are no suggestions, then it would be appropriate to have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Don't all jump at once.
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, great. All in favor of approving our April minutes, please signify by saying aye or waving your actual or virtual hand.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed or abstaining, please make yourself known. All right, thank you. I believe we have officially confirmed our April minutes. So next we go to our time of public comments. Are there any members of the public present this afternoon who would like to make comments to the commission? If you are such a person and you're in the attendees zone, please make yourself known. It looks like Alberto, by the way, is in the attendees and needs to be promoted, as is Namita. So, all right. I am not seeing any public comments, so we will move into our reports from committees. Is there any updates from the Finance Committee? I'm not sure there's been too terribly much action in that department since we were last together. Courtney, do you have anything that you'd like to make us aware about dollars and cents?
Well, I guess is there, Rachel, are you gonna say anything in your director's report about, I don't know. I don't have any.
So we do have some updates. We're looking at reconfiguring the budget for 2025. It's going to be very similar to the ask that we were going to make before, but we're just trying to be a little bit more well thought about it so that we can use these existing staff to the best of their abilities and also try to get another full-time position on in some way, shape, or form. So we do have to have another Finance Committee meeting. So I'll have Courtney try to send out some coordination on that after this meeting so that we can have more of a discussion. But next month will be when we actually present that budget to the commission for just for review, and we'll talk through it. And then in July will be when we finally take a vote on that, just to give an update.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
I agree with Rachel.
Awesome. Commissioner Gibson, did you have a comment or are you still voting
Oh.
on the minutes?
I'm not voting. No, there have been several articles in the last 2 weeks from the controller's office about how the city finances are in a downward spiral. And I didn't know if there had been any pressure from the mayor's office to lower the budgetary expectations of the commission.
We did have an update meeting with our budget analyst, and she said it would be very, very, very slim this year. We knew that going in. We don't want to add to any more of the budgetary blight that the city's experiencing. But what we're trying to do is be a little bit more creative with how we make our asks, maybe with some position swaps or reclassifying people so that we can have the smallest budgetary ask possible while also trying to fill the needs of the commission. So we'll be able to give you a little bit more broader depth of that next month.
When it comes to the work of the Personnel Committee, there have been a few staff updates in the office, which are included in Rachel's report. And I don't really have anything other than those items that are in the director's report. Community Relations, however, had a busy and productive meeting recently. It was really encouraging to have such a nice breadth of us participating in that. And Namita was elected chair of the Community Relations Committee. And I wonder if you want to say anything about that meeting or bring us any kind of report.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I don't have my camera on right now. I'm
No problem.
having a more chaotic day than expected. Yeah, it was a really fabulous meeting. It was wonderful to get to hear so much enthusiasm about the way that we're relating out. I think the big takeaway was that we're going to continue along the line of some of the language access conversations that started over in Beachview and try to have that conversation in as many neighborhoods and with as many community members as possible. I think we identified Squirrel Hill as a really great next site, considering how many folks of different backgrounds live around that area and how accessible it is via transportation. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation continuing, as well as starting to think critically about how we're engaging with young people on the topic of language access and potentially finding spaces to engage with them in schools or otherwise. So it was really great. It made me really excited, and I'm looking forward to continuing that work together.
Super. Thanks so much. Yeah, it was, I came out of that meeting really feeling like we were going places, and it was a good way to feel. All right, Rachel, we'll come over to you and review your written report for us.
All right, sure thing. So we do have some personnel updates. So our senior investigator, Jeffrey Cameron, has returned from leave. We're so happy to have him back with us. So welcome back, Jeffrey. Lauren Law completed her first year with the commission, was promoted to senior investigator on April 24th. So congratulations to her, and thank you for hanging with us for this first year. And then we actually have senior investigator Shanice Murray. Her last day with the commission is going to be on May 20th. I just wanted to thank Shanice so much for your years of service to the commission and to the city as a whole, because she's been in multiple departments and just really committed to public service. So thank you so much for that.
Hey, Rachel, before you go on, is it possible for you to edit the view? The type in the shared screen is really small. And so we're just wondering if it's possible to, that's a little better.
Yeah, I thought maybe well, it was meant more for when.
It's nice. I mean, it's nice to be able to see you at the same time, but yeah, it does make the share screen like particularly tiny.
Yeah, so I know that there's a desire for folks who are seeing the live stream to be able to see both,
Sure.
that are in the room too. So I apologize. Let me see if I can fix that. Stop sharing. Reshare for you. How's that for you?
That's great. Thanks.
Great. All right. And then in the way of cases and enforcement, so we have seen an uptick. We had a number of transfers from the EEOC this month. They're supposed to send us no more than 5, but they have been ignoring that because they are swamped. So we are at 73 open cases currently. 28 of those are pending intake, although that might have been updated since last week when I made this report. We've got 14 post-cause cases. So those are either in mandatory conciliation or in the court realm. And then we have 3 that are actually on the public hearing track. So compliance review is, I don't know if I updated this, but this is compliance review. You'll see a number of determinations this month. Sorry, this line is from last month. So there are not 5 settlements again this month, unfortunately, but we will have our compliance review after this meeting so that we can move those cases through. Under education and outreach, on the 2nd, we had an online ADA masterclass through the EEOC. I found it particularly helpful to talk about a lot about the intersection of FMLA and the workers' comp provisions in how that overlaps with ADA and Title VII. So I thought that was a really good way to connect some things for our investigators. Our big fair housing event was on April 3rd. And it was a success. I mean, I've been doing this for a number of years, and I would say that that's probably the smoothest fair housing event we've ever had. Knock on wood, but we have it on video. We were able to work with City Channel to get them to record that for us, and they broke it down into the sections so you can look at every piece individually. But that again was on the criminal history, the impact of that on federally funded housing providers. that individualized assessment, and then language access obligations as well. So we've been sharing that out, and we're going to kind of do like a replay for our attendees or those who registered who maybe weren't able to attend. On the 4th, I attended a Bridge to Equity Workforce Development event, and Felicity Williams was on that panel. I was really glad to see her representing the city. And then the Trade Institute of Pittsburgh was also there. So, and they made a comment about how some of their newer trainees are having a hard time identifying the workplace, whether they're being treated differently because they're just newer to the trade and have to just kind of find their footing, or like earn the respect or whatever it might be, or whether it's actually discriminatory. So I did actually connect with them at an event this month, and we're going to try to work together to get something on the books training wise, so that we can get some information to them on how to better advocate for themselves and how to identify like what is it about it that's discriminatory versus like what is just kind of par for the course with their trades. April 9th, we had our Fair Housing Proclamation at City Council. We didn't get a photo with all of its council members, but I have not seen that yet. So as soon as I do, I'll share it with you all. But I was very happy to have Councilperson Gross and Councilperson Strasburger sponsor it again for us this year. We are, every year we want to highlight fair housing in Fair Housing Month, but really it's a 365-day thing for us at the commission. We have a second large fair housing event on the 13th of April, and this was our more community-facing one. This was in collaboration with the Human Rights City Alliance. They wanted to lift up some of the advocacy work that's being done out in the community, give folks an opportunity to find out how they can better advocate for themselves, whether they can, that's with like a tenants union, or how to leverage a community land trust, et cetera. So it was a very well attended day. We gave out a lot of materials at our tabling and had a lot of really meaningful conversations. So I was very thankful. Hopefully this will be the first of many of those events. The 16th of April was the Domestic Violence Panel at the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission's Housing Equity Conference. It was really humbling to be up there on the stage with folks who do the domestic violence work daily, where it is their entire job, and to have them explain some of the trials that they're facing and try to provide services for people. But it was also a real privilege to be able to sit up there and say that the city of Pittsburgh has these provisions and that people can be protected. So it was a really great opportunity. I'm really thankful for that relationship with the state commission, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. We did our monthly homeownership presentation for the Urban League's Operation Home. We do this every month, and Chris was able to shadow me this month so that we can better prepare for future opportunities. We are looking at expanding that presentation a bit to include more on the mortgage and lending aspect of things. We do talk a lot about the rentals because that's primarily what we see here at the commission, but we know that there's a lot more going on out there, and we want to make sure that people are aware of it. The 25th was Take Your Kid to Work Day. The city, they put on a great program every year. It was super well attended. We talked with lots of people who maybe didn't know that the commission existed, gave out tons of slap bracelets. The kids love those. So I appreciate any opportunity to talk to the city and county employees, but yeah, seeing all the kids, it was a great day. I really appreciate it. The 26th, Kevin and Rita were able to table at the Northside Job Fair at PNC Park. Rita, did you have anything to share about that experience in particular?
I think it was really good for job seekers. They were excited to know that there are those kinds of protections for them. And people actually showed a lot of interest in the commission itself, learning about it. And we could also provide materials and other languages, which they thought was cool too.
Yeah, so like not direct services, right? Like we weren't providing actual job opportunities at that moment, but to be able to interact with people who are currently in their job search. That's part of the reason that we love doing career fairs so much, because a lot of the intakes that we get are from people who are currently in employment that are having problems, but it can happen in the hiring process too. So we want to make people aware of that. And then the final piece under education outreach was that Shanice Murray was able to get me connected with the folks who coordinate the City in the Streets program. So for those who don't know, it's like a monthly tabling event that's outside. It's very, very well attended. They had a mini City in the Streets in April, and it was, I mean, we ran out of stuff. We ran out of stuff. Chris and I talked to a bunch of people, and we were actually able to secure a couple of training opportunities, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But thank you, Shanice, again, for making that connection, because I had missed it last year. We talked about it later in the year, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get on top of it. And of course, I dropped the ball, but thank you. Thank you for your connection. All right, so in the way of meetings and new connections, I was able to meet with LaDawn Robinson. She's the new regional director of the Pittsburgh office of the Pennsylvania Commission on Human Relations. We're going to start meeting regularly. We talked about doing this monthly so that we can really connect with each other and know what's going on. She's only been the director since January, so she's still finding her footing. She's got a lot of conferences coming up, but we are working on a memorandum of understanding so that we can get a better understanding of how we should be sharing the work with each other. Like if something is happening in the city of Pittsburgh limits, who is getting that? And how do we do those referrals properly so that we can do as many form handoffs and not just like passing along a phone number. I also had a meeting with Cheryl Neck, who is the civil rights, she's in the civil rights division of the state commission, Dalen Davis of the Pittsburgh NAACP, and LaDawn Robinson again, to discuss some of the new police policies in Pittsburgh. I admittedly told them that I don't know all that much about that. We don't see very many police cases, particularly because the issues that the police are involving the police are usually so much more, I don't know, they're not usually direct discrimination cases where they would come to us first. They're usually more pressing matters and they would go to either OMI or CPRB first. So we were looking at a potential commission initiated complaint. It looks like there's a lot going on there. NAACP is on it. We're going to leave it to their devices to sort that out. But we are a part of a regular conversation just to see what the impact of the police policies are on the community and if we are hearing things here in the commission. I was able to attend the Allegheny County Anchored Reentry Summit. I spoke to a bunch of people that had a lot of post tabling. The Trade Institute was there where I was able to make a more like direct connection with them for the training purposes. I was able to meet Anne Marie Ellison of the Office of Equal Protection, which was lovely. I was really glad to put a face to a name finally. And so this whole event was about reentry for folks and the barriers that they're facing. And it's just really, I really appreciate the fact that the commission can create its own protections. And this has been something that we've been looking at a long time now, but this like evaluation of criminal history when it comes to housing so that we can reduce the barriers for people. You know, secure housing is where it starts. And we want people to be able to achieve that. So we're looking at those things with regard to our city code provisions. And there were a lot of people that had a lot to say. So it was a very eye-opening experience. I was very thankful to be a part of that this year. We did have a meeting with Chief of Staff Blake Flavchak of District 4 and Adriana Sanchez-Solis of the Allegheny Department of Human Services. So there's a number of language access issues going on. We are having ongoing conversations about it. It appears that there are some council members that are on top of it and looking to explore it on a maybe the state or the federal level. So we're kind of sitting back right now waiting for that meeting to take place so that we can all get on the same page. But what we do know is that there are a number of language access issues and that people are ending up stranded or experiencing some particularly bad hardships because of the need for their preferred language in a situation where they just cannot get that. So we are looking at that and staying on top of that. And then the last piece for this is that Chris had attended the Finding Home presentation on April 24th. This was hosted by the Public Safety Department. I did include his notes in the packet, and I'll let him present a little bit more to you later. I know I put it as a new business item. Our special projects. So we do have our employment CLE. We did have to postpone it. Unfortunately, there was a similar event that was scheduled for 2 days earlier. We had very low attendance, not attendance, but registration. So we wanted to open it up for more advertising and trying to get it out there. So we are working to secure a new date, hopefully for late June, maybe early July. so that we can try to get this done. We're already a bit off schedule with this grant because we have the other one that we need to fulfill this year, but it's fine. We're working on multiple things at the same time. Our WESA Fair Housing Radio ads ran in April, and then this year, because we have the money available through our trust fund, we are going to be running some employment ads as well in June. So that's really exciting. We do like to get that out there. We know that a lot of people that actually provide services for people that we end up seeing in our work are listening to WESA. Like, it's not directly targeting that demographic, but it's hitting the people so that they can trickle down into the community. So we wanted to make sure we were on top of that this year. We did have our strategic planning source survey discussion meeting on the 18th. I know that no commissioners were able to participate in that, but if you are interested in what was discussed and what the next steps are, please reach out to me. We are working with the vendor to try and come up with a more concrete plan to move forward. The commission's council briefing was set for April 30th, but this has been postponed kind of indefinitely. The original briefing was going to be rescheduled because of conflict on councilperson Charlene's calendar. And then there were some things that had come up about the Sunshine Act. I just want to make it, very clear that the commission is not shy about having a public event. We love to talk about ourselves and share about how people can use our services to benefit themselves. It's not private, it's not hidden, it's not, it's not meant to be a private conversation, and I did not know it was meant to be a private conversation. I was just told briefing. So we were able to clear that up with the press a little bit, but we're going to explore some other options for getting the information to council members in the meantime, because if it doesn't get scheduled and where we can talk to everybody all at the same time, we're not going to just sit back and say, oh, well, we're going to continue to move forward and make sure that everybody has the information so they can serve the constituents the way that they should. Our online portal is really, it's really up and running finally. It's working on the case management side. Thanks to Courtney for continuing to enter the data into the system for us. And she's been saving data from our old system so that we can really archive all of our old case information from when we were using Asana. It's a lot of work, but everybody has been, really helpful in helping me navigate through some of the issues of the platform, because we are building this out like kind of as we go, but it's still up, it's working, and people can submit inquiries, and it's been almost a year since we were able to get that running. So pretty proud of that project. And then I mentioned earlier that we had made some connections at the City in the Streets. So we found a member of a community group from the California Kirkbride neighborhood and from Northside Community Safety Council, and they asked us if we would provide them some training to their groups. So we're going to connect with them and hopefully get some things scheduled for the summer so we can provide some more information to their groups, and maybe they'll be able to share that out as well. But that is my very lengthy director's report. If anyone has any questions or concerns about anything, please let me know.
Awesome. It is great to see the commission working in so many different directions, all very well coordinatedly and effectively. So that's really awesome. What questions do we have for Rachel about any of the items in her report? I think one thing I would just like to draw some of our attention to is the fact that we do have those cases that are on the public hearing track right now. So if you are serving in the public hearing section, just be aware that at some point in the nearest term, meaning the next couple months, you might be hearing from Rachel about the need to schedule a public hearing. So just be aware that those are possibly pending. It's been a while since we had to reserve time on our calendar for a public hearing, but it looks like we might have some coming up. Commissioner Gibson.
All right, I have so many questions.
Please.
Are public hearings streamed or are they in person?
They are in person.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes. You do not, if you are a member of the compliance review section, you do not have to worry about clearing your calendar for a public hearing. It's for those of us in the public hearing section.
I know it's been quite a while since we've had one, last summer, it's almost a year. So for those who are on the public hearing section, or for the newer commissioners who I have not been able to assign to a committee, or I'm sorry, to a section properly just yet, It's been mostly because we're evaluating the status of so many of our commissioners with terms ending, et cetera. So I do believe that we'll be adding probably newer commissioners to the public hearing section because we have so many of them coming up now. So we'll probably do something in the way of a more formal training here soon. I did have a conversation with Falco, one of our new solicitors on Friday about the upcoming public hearing so that we can try to all get on the same page about these, get them scheduled. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. There's definitely great training material. I know we have a recording of the last public hearing training. I think the possibility of doing one with our new solicitor would be really helpful. So it's not something like, it sounds a little bit imposing, and I definitely had some anxiety going into the first ones that I've done, but it really happens in a pretty straightforward kind of way. And it's sort of fun to watch government at work. So yeah, when it comes to that, look forward to making those happen. Any other questions about Rachel's report? All right. So moving into our old business, we just wanted to mention again this month that in June, we elect our officers for our executive committee. Our chairperson, vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. We have typically had the practice of soliciting nominations for those roles at this meeting, and spending a little bit of time telling you more about those positions so you can determine whether you might be interested in fulfilling them. I will say that the executive committee roles are important for several reasons. First, some of them are public facing, like, you know, you might be chairing a meeting or you might be providing a treasurer's report. But also, my hope is that in this coming year, now that we have some stability at our director role, we can return to having the executive committee actually meeting with Rachel on a regular basis to provide, you know, further insight and support and decision-making along the way in between our meetings of the commission. So everyone who's elected to the executive committee should expect that probably some kind of opportunity to touch base as an executive committee will be part of that role. Beyond that, the roles are relatively what they say on paper. So the chairperson chairs meetings and also spends time sort of touching base with the director, fielding any interim questions. The chairperson is also the only person other than the director who's able to speak to the press when it comes to that. The vice chair and second vice chair act as the chair when needed. The secretary may occasionally be called on to sign some official documents, but otherwise does not have to take minutes. That we have the delight of having our staff cover the actual minute taking. So huge thanks directed over to Rita and others who are taking minutes. The treasurer chairs the finance committee. So we'll probably need to be touching base with Rachel and with Courtney about finance related matters and chairing that committee meeting. So those are our positions. Shortly before today's meeting, you had in your inbox an email from Rachel with a survey asking us about our own interest in these positions and our eagerness to nominate one another for these positions. So everyone should please fill out that survey. In fact, why don't we just take a moment of time now to each click on that link and fill out that survey, and we'll be back in 2 to 3 minutes to reflect on our progress. So find your email link, click into your survey, and we'll reconvene momentarily. Speak up if you had any trouble finding that link.
Can I ask a question, Liddy?
Yes.
I've indicated that I'm not interested because I'm so new. I wouldn't know what to do myself. I also don't feel like I know many of the other commissioners very well. Should I abstain or should I go ahead and just vote based on what I do know?
I think you can, I think I'm gonna leave it up to you as to how much you trust your initial impressions of your fellow commissioners to be able to make that kind of determination. I mean, I think if you have a good idea, please feel free to go ahead and do it. And otherwise, there's no problem at all with saying, I really don't know enough to be able to make a good nomination at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just, one thing I should have said earlier, my term on the commission is ending. So although my name does appear on the list of people who could be nominated, I'm likely not going to be able to see out a full term. And so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to elect me to an office in this coming year.
I am not seeing the survey.
Just for the commissioners, Lauren,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no worries. Kyle has asked if what happens if not enough people are interested? Will there be a coordinated pressure campaign we can assist with? Yeah, unfortunately, so last year, to give you perspective, we only had, I think, 5 commissioners, maybe 6. And we have 5 positions on the executive committee, so there was a bit of like, all right, I'll just take it. But in previous years, you know, I'm happy to talk through any of the positions with anyone, the level of commitment that's required of each. You know, I mean, Liddy just gave a really good explanation of what it's like. She's been chair multiple times now. Is it multiple times now? So yeah, she's been through it. She knows what to expect. But like, if you need to know anything more about how these positions interact with the staff at all, I mean, it really is minimal. Leading a meeting, I can always be supportive with. I just provided in our shared Google Drive, the Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure. So it goes through how to like make motions and all those things that, you know, a chairperson is kind of coordinating as being the chairperson. Although we've been a little lax on things on this. I second that, Rabbi.
And
Yes, it has been quite the year. I just want to say thank you again to all the commissioners that have been on with us for this long, and for the folks that are now joining us and kind of coming in the middle of rebuilding. I really appreciate you. Like, where's that coming from?
Don't forget, when you get to what looks like the end of the survey, you still have to press the submit button at the bottom. Like the seal will come up and then you have to still press submit.
you're welcome. You made Rachel think she was doing that.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, with the echo and the reverb earlier, it was really throwing me off, and then that was just something else. So I don't even know if they can hear that.
I'm just seeing the chat and you guys are ridiculous. All right. Take another minute to finish your work on the survey. And maybe while you are making your last few nominations, let's turn it over to Chris for a report on his recent work on the topic of homelessness.
Yeah, so I had sat in on a number of roundtables and discussions over the last couple of weeks regarding the homelessness crisis. I don't want to just read line for line directly off of what is already there, but you know, needless to say, the stats it's fairly harrowing, especially when you consider that we've had a nearly 75 to 1.75 to double the increase in the last year of homelessness of the average metropolitan region nationwide. So there's a lot of work to be done. We also have the impending case of Johnson v. Grants Pass. It's hasn't received nearly the amount of press that I would have liked to have seen in the mainstream media, because, you know, folks have been distracted by other things. But it really is, you know, it's a case where they are outlawing encampments within their own city of Grants Pass, Oregon. And an encampment is defined as anywhere that a homeless person is. And this is currently before the Supreme Court. It's been going through the court system for a while now. All expectations are that the Supreme Court's going to rule in favor of Grants Pass if their past ruling history is any indication. And it's bad not only because it provides a rule template for a lot of other municipalities to follow, but it's also going to be the first time that a class of person has essentially been made illegal. And who knows what else that could open the doorway to, precedent-wise. So that one fact alone kind of touches on all of our work here. The fact that they would essentially be making a person illegal based on status alone. As a follow-up to that, there was an informational roundtable of sorts, digital roundtable that was put on by the Office of Health and Safety of the city. It was mostly sticking to stating towards what city services were already available. I would characterize the tone as defensive, but it's possible that I may have been reading too much into that, since I was somewhat upset by the fact that they were touching on all kinds of areas where the Commission on Human Relations is the primary enforcement agency, and they didn't ask for our opinion on any of this. So that was a little upsetting, and as politely as I possibly could, I made it known to them that we would like to be included in those conversations in the future. And then send an email follow-up afterwards, to which I haven't received a response. But if other city agencies are going to be involved in this, and of course I believe that they should be, then I think that we need to be a partner in that, because it is how these sort of, you know, the least of us are being treated is very much a concern of this commission. If there's anything on there that anybody would like any follow-up on, I would be happy to provide thoughts, comments, any facts that I may have left out. But as I said, I kind of wanted to avoid just reading down the list.
Does anyone have any questions for Chris about his report? Chris, thanks for representing us in that space. I think it's really important that, you know, as there are plenty of folks in town who are looking at this issue from a variety of lenses. And I think like the particular civil rights lens that we can bring to that question is an important one to have in the room. So thank you for participating in that way.
One quick clarification in my personal opinion as a lawyer. While I agree that Grants Pass is devastating, I don't think it would be the first time that the Supreme Court has issued the ruling that a class of people is illegal. I think that they have towed, if not crossed that line, many times before. Unfortunately.
I would say thank you for that, but it's just depressing. So we'll just leave it there. No, thank you for that information.
I appreciated the awkward silence after I said it. So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
was all that needed to be said.
So obviously it's something that can be parsed, right? Because, you know, it's what exactly is it that makes a certain status illegal, right? That is, I think the argument is that obviously there are lots of people who look at the status of an undocumented person and call them an illegal. That would be like the most direct comparison. But even in that, the understanding, as incorrect as it might be, is that person is subject to the law because they did something that is considered illegal in the in the United States law versus I think the point that a lot of folks are trying to make with Grants Pass and a lot of the research I did is that the thing itself becomes illegal because of the status of the person. And that's what a lot of folks were looking at. And as I said, there's a lot of ways you can kind of argue around that. And is it like, obviously in the past, there have been laws on the books that everybody knows were only there because they were against a certain class of individual. However, this is the first time that, at least as I said, in a lot of the sources that I had read, their major concern was that this is the first time that something becomes purely illegal based off of, or a person or someone becomes purely illegal based off of status. So
We can, in a less public setting, have this debate, but I would tell you to look at
Oh,
Bowers v.
yeah.
Hardwick. I think Bowers v. Hardwick did that pretty clearly, and luckily it's since been overturned, but there's a couple other examples as well. Regardless, it's devastating. This is a devastating, devastating case that has devastating potential consequences, and I'm very, very glad that you all are keeping an eye on it. I'm very hopeful Pittsburgh doesn't adopt whatever this permits us to do. And so thank you for the update. But I do, yeah. There's nuance that we can talk about sometime in the neighborhood.
yeah, no, and here, so getting to your second point, I think a lot of the advocates I spoke to stressed that they wouldn't expect Pittsburgh to adopt a Grants Pass statute. However, that shouldn't be the standard, number one. And number two, a lot of surrounding municipalities may adopt those standards. And if they do, that's going to increase the burden on everybody else, because then where are folks going to go to? They're going to go to the places that don't have it. So that, combined with, as I said, our already larger than the national average increase in homelessness and people who aren't sheltered, combined with the other factors that are going on right now, combined with the end of rental assistance funding, this could be an even larger crisis a year down the road that we really need to be looking towards.
I think this will be another good piece of discussion for our community relations committee. So one of the things that we didn't mention earlier is that pretty much everybody on this commission is a member of the community relations committee, first of all. But also that the regular meetings are now going to be held the last Monday of each month, except for, of course, this month, because now we have, Memorial Day. But we'll have it probably the week prior on that Monday. I need to send out an invitation, but everyone is welcome to join that committee and to have more of a discussion on some of these more specific topics that we don't really get a lot of time or bandwidth to explore during our regular meetings.
Rachel, you had added our assorted summer outreach opportunities to the agenda, and I saw that earlier this afternoon you sent us a link to the next City in the Streets event at the end of this month. We also have Pride celebrations coming up. Tell us more about summer outreach and the ways that we can be involved.
Yes, so a lot going on this summer. So the City in the Streets is happening monthly through the month of September. So I am going to be sending out more calendar invitations on those for the staff. We'll have to talk through who's going to be on the tables at which points. But for commissioners, it's just, if you can be there, please be there. It's really helpful for us when we're speaking to the public to have those faces there and to be representative of the more than just the staff, right? Like, because we are still in the process of recruiting commissioners. It's a constant process. So having someone there who can really speak to the process and the things that you're doing, it gets them on board. So I would really love to see you all there. I'm going to add, so the next City in the Streets is the 30th. And then Pride, we will be with our table for the 31st and the 1st. that event is going to be, so we're sharing a table with our vendor Outlet Studio, because they are going to be getting surveys for our LGBTQIA+ housing research that we're doing. So they're gonna be there trying to elicit those surveys. We'll be there to provide information and swag. And so that we'll need some folks for that as well. So I'll try to send out more specific information on the tabling once I have it. I haven't actually received a response from the organizers yet, but I think June has. So I'll double check with her. So we're looking at that. We're also for Juneteenth going to table for that event. That is also a very well attended event, obviously, and we want to be there. I am looking for suggestions. So for both the Pride event and the Juneteenth, we would like to do something more to highlight some of the LGBT and Black-owned businesses of Pittsburgh. So I'd be interested in if anyone knows anywhere that beyond, I mean, I'm going to reach out to Commissioner King. I know she's not here today. She's traveling, but look at reaching out to some of these businesses to see if, okay, can I get a gift card? Can I buy a gift card from you and then raffle that off at our table? Just to, you know, people come up, they get our spiel about the commission and learn more about how to assert their rights. And then they get an opportunity to win a gift card for a Black-owned business or an LGBT business. So if you have suggestions for those locations, please let me know. I mean, I'm doing my own research and working with our research vendor. They know of a bunch of places, but we want to make sure that we're representing a good swath of Pittsburgh with that. Let me think beyond Juneteenth. I think so. June's usually the biggest with Juneteenth and Pride. Those are our biggest events. So if commissioners can be a part of that, that's really helpful. And again, like, because they're kind of 3 days back to back there between the 30th, 31st and the 1st of June. If anybody's interested, please let me know.
Great. Commissioner McCullough.
Can we reimburse the businesses that would give us gift cards or raffle items?
Yeah, this is something that I wanted to purchase myself. So they don't actually allow us, like, through our purchasing card for the city to buy gift cards, but I think that that's probably something that a lot of people would be really interested in getting. Now, if they have goods as well that that we can purchase, then excellent. I definitely don't want to shortchange anyone. And I want to be the first ones to support them. So yeah, if I have to pay for it, I'll pay for it, and then we'll just use that to raffle off. But yeah, I know that the city is particularly limiting in terms of like what we can get.
Okay. Yeah, I can contribute to that as well. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd be willing to match any contribution.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to participate in contributing to that, please feel free. It's no obligation. Like it's just something I thought I would try this year. You know, I watched a lot of, there were a lot of vendors there at Juneteenth last year that I was just in love with some of the stuff that they had. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had some of this at our table to just kind of bring it all together and to like highlight them in more than one place and to, you know, be able to tie it back to some of the drier material that we are always spewing at people about the anti-discrimination provisions. But yeah, so hopefully it'll bring some other people to the table this year, and we'll be able to support some folks too.
Yeah, that'd be great. So Rachel, it does not feel appropriate for you to like shoulder that whole financial burden like yourself personally. So if you could please send out to the whole commission the opportunity for how we can Venmo you to create a fund to do that, please do.
I am not trying to like martyr myself here. Like, this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, but also like the commissioners already get so little in exchange for the work that you do for this commission. I would feel so wrong taking
But
my
let us individually make that choice. It's not a requirement of any commissioner. Like, you certainly don't need to feel like you have to contribute. Do so according to your own like willingness and your own means.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, please also send out the information about the Pride and Juneteenth tabling so that we can make sure that we're there. I have never tabled at Juneteenth, but I've tabled at Pride several times during my tenure on the commission, and it's really fun. It's a nice opportunity to like meet people. A lot of folks have never heard of the commission, are really interested in the work we do. So yeah, let's make sure that we fill up our table, not just with staff, but also with commissioners.
Yeah, we do have matching commission shirts. Some of them say commissioner on the back. I think, I can't tell you how many we have left that actually do say commissioner because folks take them and all of that, but, yeah, so we have shirts, we bring sunscreen. I try to bring water if I can help it so that nobody has to like keep running to vendors and like buying, $5 bottles of water. But yeah, they are really fun. I enjoy them quite a bit. It is hot, but you'll have that. And yeah, I see you, Commissioner Gibson. I'll try to figure out exactly what it is that we're purchasing and get you all a total cost of like what that looks like. We're not trying to go too crazy, but we do want to be, have something that people are really going to be interested in if they're going to, put their name in the raffle.
All right, we have packed this meeting full with all kinds of information and updates. Is there anything else to come to our attention this afternoon?
I see that we have a few, I was gonna say, I see we have a few folks that are, yes, Thea wants to. Go ahead, Thea.
I just wanted to say, well, I'm not speaking officially for the Human Rights City Alliance. I was on the committee for the Pittsburgh People's Fair Housing and Fair and Equitable Housing Assembly. But I wanted to thank the commission for their support in language access and also for the food and being a sponsor.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So much of that program was furthering fair housing without being a direct correlation to like discrimination. And I really wanted to be able to support you all, and Fair Housing Month is usually a time where we can do that a little bit more easily. So yeah, thank you for, allowing us to be a part of the program as well.
You're welcome. And I believe I saw you tabling at the August Wilson Block Party. I mean, the commission.
That I actually didn't know about, embarrassingly. So I wasn't aware of the August Wilson tabling situation, but I will definitely be on top of that for next year.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Great. Well, if there's no other business for us this afternoon, maybe someone would like to make a motion that we be adjourned. Or we could just stay here.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second.
Okay, all in favor of concluding our meeting, please say aye, wave your hand.
Aye.
Right, perfect.
Yeah.
I believe it's been done. Thank you all so much for being part of our conversation this afternoon, and we will see you at our next scheduled meeting, which will be on June 3rd. We'll see you then.
Not off the record, I wanted to share the event that's going on tonight, the Yom HaShoah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to share that Rabbi was kind enough to let me know as well. So just wanted to share the information.
Yeah, that's a good one too. All right, thanks everybody. We will see you next month.
I Venmoed you.